This podcast is co-created and co-produced by Food Allergy Institute and the 12 Company. Listeners should know that the podcast host, Lesley-Anne Stone, is not a physician nor a licensed medical professional, and the purpose of this podcast is strictly limited to storytelling. Any content shared within the podcast is not intended to be medical advice and should not be used for diagnosis or treatment purposes. All listeners are urged to consult their healthcare providers. The creators, hosts, and guests of this podcast are not liable for any decisions or actions taken by any persons who claim to rely upon the content of this podcast. You know, a theme that's coming up in this podcast is partnership, this idea of partnership and building your tribe, building your circle. In essence, this show, every guest I bring on has been that partner, that support, and in finding the support and not doing it alone. And it's hard to ask for help.
Yes, and we're really good at going like in our little silos and doing it on our own. But anytime we come together and we just support each other in any capacity, you know, work, personal, like anywhere, it's just, there's more power in that.
Hi, I'm Lesley-Anne Stone, and this is Resilience and Hope, a Food Allergy Podcast. I have a very special guest today. It's my friend, Pam Yudko. Pam and I met in the most unusual way and became instant friends, and it all circles back to food allergies and my son, Sam. So before I get into it all, I want to introduce you to my friend, Pam.
Hi.
Yay.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here,
Yeah,
Pam.
this is fun.
We met at the Food Freedom Conference, sponsored by the Food Allergy Institute 3 years ago
I
now?
was going to say August 22.
Wow, you even knew the month. Good for you.
That's my brain. It's special.
I spoke at the conference. I was part of Dr. Randau's keynote, and after the conference, you came up to me and, well, we'll just take a step back. During the conference, I saw you in different sessions, like coming in and out because you were wearing this fabulous dress.
You commented on my dress.
Yes.
And I remember you wearing a flower. So I remembered when
Yes.
you got up to speak, I was like, oh, that's the woman who commented on my dress. Yes.
The pink flower.
Yes.
Yes. Very Carrie Bradshaw. I love the flower. So we were, because it was in this hotel with different rooms, and most of the people who attended this conference were there to learn about the program.
Yes.
They were either on the wait list or they had a kid who was early on in the program. And I came off the stage and there were a couple women who approached me afterwards. And you were in that group. And you said to me, I'm going to contact you later, but I just wanted to say that in my presentation, I trace Sam's journey as going through the tolerance induction program. And on the last slide, I showed him going off to summer camp. And I just happened to throw that slide in at the end. It wasn't like, it was just like, there was something about it. I'm like, oh, we should talk about how I can send Sam to summer camp now. We don't have to worry what he eats. And the logo of the camp was on his t-shirt. So you said to me, I'm going to find you during the week. I'm going to find you on social media. And I'm going to contact you, but I just want to let you know my nieces go to that camp. And I thought that is so crazy because that camp was in New York. Because I happened to send my kids to camp in New York that summer, which was rare. Like that wasn't something we were intending to do. And I figured you were a food allergy mom because most of the people there were food allergy moms. And you found me on social media, like you followed through.
And it wasn't easy because the last name that I remembered hearing was not the last name that I found on social media.
Right. Because I didn't, yes, because I don't have the same last name as Sam because I didn't take Dave's last name.
Exactly.
Yes. So you found me and we exchanged some like DMs, if you will. And then I got your phone number. And it was a 917 number. I'm not going to go too much further. It was an East Coast number because I kept my East Coast number. And when we connected, I'm like, okay, so what allergies do your kids have? And you're like, I'm not a food allergy parent.
Yep.
I am a life coach and I have a whole coaching business and I have families in the program. And my mind was blown that you went to this conference to learn about the program to help better support your clients and families. So, and then that's it. We have so much in common and we've become instant friends. And I know some of your friends, you know some of my friends, the family members. It's very serendipitous. So let's pause the conversation and now go back to you. Tell us about Pam. Who are you?
Yes.
And tell us about where you're from, because now you live in LA.
Yes.
And tell us, what is coaching?
Okay. Yeah. So I moved here to LA in August of 2019. I am a New Yorker from Queens, proud of my New Yorkness, now living in LA. But I do find every time I connect to someone, it's someone from the East Coast, which is kind of the irony. I couldn't wait to have a different experience and give my family a different experience. I'm the youngest of 4 children. My whole family is still in New York. I always had this dream to live in LA specifically, live in California, I should say. And my husband was like, you'll never leave your family. You'll never leave. I'm like, I will. And this has been going on from the minute we left New York City. I'm a real New Jersey girl now, because we did move across the river to New Jersey. That was my big life transition. And I was just like, really? Is this it? This is how it's all going to go down, growing up in Queens and not being in a suburb. I just was having a different experience. I lived in New Jersey for a decade. And I was actually a coach for the New York City Department of Education. And when my children were born, who are now going to be 17 and 18, which is wild this year, I decided that I wanted to continue coaching, but I wanted to do it in a different way and in a way that I was passionate about the content, which brought me to be a health coach. And I started that in 2012. And then I wanted to go deeper and help people beyond just kale and green juicing and cleansing and, detoxing and all that stuff.
I love kale.
I do love kale. But I wanted to help people go deeper beyond their relationship with food. But why would they talk to me about a career transition or a relationship issue or financial concerns, like anything any area in their life that they were stuck? But that's where I wanted to go. So I got certified as a life coach. And really what I do and what I was trained in as a life coach was to help people with behavior change. But then beyond that, help them understand the beliefs that are creating those behaviors and really work to shift that belief, because that's where the real transformation lies. So I started doing that, and my business has continuously evolved over the last almost 14 years. I get a situation where it's like turn left and I go left, and then it's turn right and I turn right. And I've really just kind of been able to flow with the evolution of what is now called Breakthrough Coaching Center.
So your business is Breakthrough Coaching Center.
Yes.
And you see a wide variety of clients. Pausing for a second. What is a coach?
Sorry, you did ask that.
Okay.
A coach is someone that helps you get unstuck, whether you're looking for clarity or motivation or support, accountability. I also like to say not just support, because support can kind of just pacify someone who's really going to stretch you to get to that next step of where you feel blocked. So it's more goal-oriented and future-focused and helps you just move beyond where you are. And for, it depends on the coach. Every coach has its own niche. For me, I'm pretty general. I am more about connecting and building a relationship and building a safe space and building rapport. And once I believe you feel safe, we can kind of figure out what your next step is in whatever area of your life is in this partnership together.
So what is the difference between a coach and a therapist?
Great question. A coach, like I said, is more short. I didn't say this. It's short-term focused. It's more future-oriented. We're dealing with your present state and figuring out how to get you to the next step. I'm not a licensed professional. I'm not able to diagnose. I don't specifically deal with mental health issues. I help you, just like I said, create clarity, help you get unstuck. I mean, generally, therapists and coaches are a layer of support for you to help you get unstuck, but licensed professional, a therapist, is able to diagnose, is able to help you with emotional pain from your past, to help you heal more long-term, to help you navigate your future. And they are a clinical professional also. So I would say that and they have a lot of regulations, like coaching is not so regulated. So you definitely have to be careful of, I feel like, who you're looking to help support you and make sure that it is that right person. And you have to do the same thing for a therapist too, but there are a lot more regulations with therapy.
It's interesting because I worked with your company before. And what was so special about working with a coach is it reminded me, I hope I can articulate this clearly, but it reminded me, I've worked out with personal trainers before, and that's physical coaching. But life coach, when you find someone, as you said, who is in that niche that you're looking for, they can help you achieve your goals with that aspect of your life.
Yep.
So you, instead of going to someone for physical training, you are, like you said, behavior training. And it's really awesome to have someone in your corner to check in with on a semi-regular basis for a short term until you achieve that goal. And many things that I learned while working for your company, I still apply to my life today.
And that was with Amy.
Yes, it was with Amy.
That.
So your company, Breakthrough Coaching Center, has many different divisions. You partner with different coaches. So you have life coaching, you have health coaching, you have parent coaching, and you have child life specialists.
Yes. And we have executive coaching as well. Yep.
So that is how you segued into working with families in the tolerance induction program. And it started with clients in the New York area, correct? Who were commuting in, which is amazing.
And also very serendipitous,
Yes.
I was working in my role as a life coach with a family, and they were struggling with their child, actually nothing to do with allergies, just with addiction and recovery. And they wanted someone to support they had 3 children, and they wanted someone to support the child in addiction recovery while they were in a program, and then the siblings. And I remembered one of my dear friends back east said they are working with, both of their kids had allergies and are in the allergy program, and they are working with a woman that was changing her son's life. I was like, give me the name, because this person that I was working with was back east also, not understanding what I was getting involved with, which was a child life specialist. It was virtual. She was actually in Florida. And so we started working together because we were working with this family. And then I think 9 months later, I was navigating challenges with my daughter at the time who was having a lot of anxiety. And I was like, I love working with you. Can you help my daughter? So we were working this professional way. And then I brought her into a personal way, and I watched her on the parent side of it. So now I was dealing with her, helping this family, and we were working professionally together. But now my husband and I were on the parent side of it, needing support to help our daughter. And she blew my mind. And I was just like, I have so many families that need you. Would you be willing to have a further conversation of what that could look like? And that was in 2021. So here we are almost 4 years later.
Oh, wow.
And she was the first person that worked with a food allergy kiddo. And then we started talking about what that could look like, because there is such a need for support in the food allergy program. And since then, we've brought in a couple of specialists that have been supporting kids in the food allergy program. And right now we are currently just have 2 specialists supporting the kids in the program.
So what exactly is a child life specialist?
So a child life specialist is actually, they're trained in the hospital setting. So they specifically are trained to help with medical conditions or medical diagnoses, or if a child is getting ready to receive a poke from, a blood draw, or they're getting news of a diagnosis, or they're dealing with tests that they have to take. They'll bring in the child life team at the hospital to help support those situations, bring them outside of the hospital setting into the community setting, which is what they are with us. And they're doing the same thing. They're really helping children, cope. They're helping children face, build resiliency when they're faced with adversity, specifically in medical circumstances. So they are, when I think of the food allergy program, they are specifically helping build confidence, helping them with the program, the appointments before, the challenges that they're going to be facing, their maintenance, giving them strategies how to just keep the endurance through the program, because it is a long program. And also they're supporting kids in so many different developmental stages. You're starting a program, let's say at 8 years old, but they're finishing at 12 years old.
Yes.
It's a lot that changes and shifts through the program. So not only are they helping the kid, and they're doing it in creative ways, they're really meeting the child in the developmental stage that they're in. They do have the medical background, but again, they're in the community setting. So they're teaching them to play games while they're waiting at the appointment, and they're sharing just different apps that they can play to keep them distracted. They're helping them with self-regulation. They're helping them to de-escalate. And all of these skills that they're learning within the allergy program transcends the program, because it goes into them dealing with bullying in school, them dealing with friendships, them dealing with sport challenges, right? So it's just this this beautiful skill set that I feel like they're trained in the hospital setting that they bring into an allergy kid's life because it is a medical circumstance that they're dealing with, but then it also transcends into their developmental stage of where they are.
I remember the first time I encountered a child life specialist. I mentioned this in our first episode that Casey, my younger son, suffered from febrile seizures. And when he would have any sort of a fever, when he was an infant, he would have a seizure. And we spent some time at Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, and there was an amazing child life team in the neurology department when we had to stay overnight a couple nights. And not only did they help Casey, but they also helped Sam as the big brother who would come to visit. And it was really comforting as the parent to have that kind of support. I never heard of a child life specialist. I never worked with one before, but it was in the hospital setting, and it was a very, very unique thing. So you working with the child life specialist as a coach in Breakthrough Coaching Center, you then work with the parents. You work with the family. You are an overview. I remember you said you sit in the hole with them.
Yes.
Can you expound on that a little bit?
And I could share two more. I come in specifically, my role in Breakthrough Coaching Center is to come in and kind of be like the manager of their care. So I meet with the parents. I have a 15-minute consultation where I'm just like, what are your needs? What are you looking for? And then I match them with the right specialist. And then I'm on the back end just making sure things are running smoothly when they're specifically just working with the child life specialist. And so then what happens is the parent then speaks to the child life specialist that I assign them to or that we think is a good fit. And they have their own consultation, complimentary, just to get to know the needs of the parent and the child. And then they begin this work with the child. And the child life specialist also offers caregiver sessions. So they're coaching the parent. We call them caregiver sessions. But what they're doing is the child life specialist is specifically advocating for the child. So their caregiver sessions are always going to be in alignment with that. They're going to help the parent to make sure that the work that the child life specialist is doing with the kid is being supported. So, we're trying to get them to be creative to eat these foods. Well, I want you to find some recipes to be able to support that because they're having a problem eating it with applesauce and they need a different texture, right? So that's more of what the caregiver sessions are, is just really supporting the work that the child life specialist is doing with the parent. I, as a coach, can come in separate from that, understanding the care, which is different and special because I get to speak to my team and say, okay, what are you working on? Then I have more insight and we work as like a holistic team to say, okay, you're going to be working on this. Well, I'm noticing that the parent really needs support around boundaries and, being confident in that. And also, but then I'm learning, they just need more confidence in general, right? So it's just this, and it's really all for the parent. Like parents are doing so much for these kids. They're laying their life down to make sure that these kids are getting healed and put into remission, right? So that is their whole focus. They forget about themselves half the time. So I'm trying to bring them out of that a little bit and helping them see your typical analogy that we hear all the time. Put the oxygen mask over yourself first so that you can assist your children. And that's more of my role, is focusing on their oxygen. And the child life specialist is focused on the oxygen mask that will then support the program that they're doing with the child.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So let's go back to the Food Freedom Conference. You went to learn more about the program to better help support your clients and your family, the parents and the kids. What do you remember about that conference besides my flower?
Yes. And my dress.
Yes. And the fabulous blue
I remember walking up and down the escalator, just trying to find my space. I was like, I know I'm here for a reason. I'm trying to figure out how to get into that reason. I was going into the different rooms. I was trying to learn. I wasn't, I was walking in without having a kid in the allergy program. So I felt like I was a fish out of water. And I just really just kept walking around and finding my way. And I was in and I was out and I was learning. I was going into all the different talks that were happening and into the different rooms and reading the brochures and reading the presentations and asking questions. I was well-versed, I felt like, just from knowing about the program, again, through friends that were also in it. And not only that, a lot of my friends, as you said, are from the East Coast. So I live 25 minutes from the program, right? The clinics. So now people are flying in, they're staying in my area. it was like a beautiful setup. You know, they were coming in every 8 to 12 weeks. And so I was invested just on a personal way. Like, okay, what are we challenging today? I used to come to some appointments, you know, and then
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I came to some of the appointments. I was very intrigued by the program because I was watching.
Well, it's fascinating.
Yes.
It's there's nothing like it in the world. It's fascinating.
Yes. And not only that, I was watching my friends like feel this sense, you know, as we hear from your journey of I can breathe, you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. By the time they get into high school, like I'm not going to have to worry about them sharing a drink with another friend potentially, you know, all of these things. So I just was watching it on this personal side too through my friends. And I was just looking to now see it more from the clinical perspective. And I might have wanted to leave a bunch of times, but I just kept feeling like stay because I was like, okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. I think I'm done. And I stayed until the end. And now I know why. I sat to listen to Lesley-Anne Stone's beautiful talk. Did he eat a Reese's Buttercup?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And I was like, okay, let's go. And again, I was like, stayed to the end. And then when I saw that picture, I was like, ran up to grab you. And I was running up to grab you because I was like, another New Yorker in LA. I've only been here 3 years. I love my New Yorkers. So then I was like, do you live in New York? And you were like, no, I live in LA. So then I was like, I'm going to find you.
So wild.
Yeah.
It's so wild. The thing also that gets me about our story is the only reason why we did summer camp that summer in New York was because my mom was sick. And I wanted to spend as much time as possible with her. And I thought, well, the kids are off from school. They're going to go to camp anyway. That was a camp I grew up going to and my sister. And we just had an affinity in it's an amazing camp that I'm going to use this as an opportunity to send my kids to this day camp. And Sam can now go. Before the program, there's no way Sam could go to that program where the bus picks you up in the morning. You have all your meals at camp. There's a canteen. You can have snack at the camp. Then you come home and there's kids from all over the Tri-State area that are bussed into this camp. And again, like it just hit me, put this in the presentation as part of our journey that now Sam he could go away to a camp, even though it was a day camp. He can go away to this camp. And it was because my mom was sick. And then I thought about putting in that picture and they just happened to be wearing a t-shirt that had the camp logo on it. It's so serendipitous how we met. It's just, and just hearing that you were thinking about, you never told me that there were moments you're like, maybe I'll leave. And something told you to stay
put
is so wild to me. What is your message for food allergy families in the tolerance induction program specifically? Because you've seen so many different ages. Like my experience is with a toddler in the program. You don't see a lot of people. You see more preteens and teens, right?
Yes,
So what's your message to parents out there from all over the country?
Yeah. So I think that, you know, you're signing up for this program that is really changing your life and your child's life, right? And with that change, these children are being told to stay away from these foods for their entire life until they enter this program. And if they have this food, like potentially really bad things can happen to them. But now we're putting them into environments saying, no, it's okay. We're going to start introducing this. And that really, depending on the child's developmental stage and the child, listen, I have seen kids go through it like emotionally without a hitch. They're doing well. They don't even think about it. They feel safe and they just go. And then I've seen a lot of other families where kids are really resistant. They're really scared. And depending again on their developmental stage, you know, they're not just scared facing this program, but they have a lot of things that are going on in their life that's causing anxiety in general. So anxiety is just I don't want to say anxiety is just anxiety because anxiety is anxiety, but the way it shows up, you know, is similar. It just comes out through being fearful. And so what I notice is get ahead of it. Before, you know, a lot of times I'll say to the parents, like they just started the program, just meet a specialist, see if your kid connects to them, because we don't know how this program's going to play out for you. Your child might just be it might be a smooth process for them. But if you meet the specialist and you see that they have rapport, when you are, you know, faced with that challenge and the child is really having a tough time, you don't have to start finding a person.
You have a resource. You have options.
A resource.
I love that. I love having options.
And then you just jump into that. And it's, you know, like 20 steps ahead of the game, in my opinion. So I feel preventative care is really big for a parent entering this program, not looking to always put out fires, but securing that. And then also, you don't have to do this alone. This is a big journey that you're going through. And you do have communities. I know that a lot of my, the kids that we work with, and then my friends who are in the program, there are Facebook groups. I know there's a whole other side group texts that go on. So there is a lot of support from parents, but you do need, support in another way too. And that's where we come in, or all professionals could come in to just support the families through this process when they're faced with challenges, when they're faced with adversity, and they really need to build their resilience.
A theme that's coming up in this podcast as we continue to record with every guest, and it was my best friend Amelia, who she's the one who pointed it out to me, is partnership. This idea of partnership and building your tribe, building your circle. And when we started, the program was much smaller. It was years ago. I mean, it has exploded. Thank God it has exploded. It's helping so many people all over the world. But I didn't realize at the time that I was building my partners, right? People to support me. So in essence, this show, that every guest I bring on has been that partner, that support, and in finding the support and not doing it alone. And it's hard to ask for help. It's really hard to ask for help.
Yes. And we're really good at going like in our little silos and doing it on our own. But anytime, you come together, we come together, and we just support each other in any capacity, work, personal, like anywhere. It's just, there's more power in that, and I think that is, we got used to doing it alone. I think we can do a lot on our own because we have our devices, or we don't go into offices anymore, or we're getting trained up to kind of not have to connect. And that's just not the answer. So I think that just that connection, having a different pair of eyes to see something that you're not able to see. I always say, like coaching, if you put your finger on your nose, you can do it with me, put your finger on your nose. And then if you look at it, is it a clear view, or what do you see? It's blurry. So this is what we do. We slowly take the finger away so we could see what we're looking at better. It's clearer, but we need to do that together. Like, I need you to do that for me as a friend. I cannot see certain things that I'm so emotionally entangled in clearly. And so that's what we do as professionals and in friendships and any type of support that you have.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when should somebody in life seek a coach?
Well, obviously, I do what I do because I believe it's so valuable. So when you need to see a little bit clearer, you're looking for more clarity, you want to invest in your personal and professional growth, you feel like you're hitting up against a roadblock and you can't move beyond it no matter what you're doing. Even I hear a lot of times, I used to be able to do this in my 20s and this would work, or I used to do this in my 30s and this would work, but here I am now and I'm not able to do it. So I think we all change over time, and sometimes the things that we used to do don't translate into the stage of life that we're in anymore. So then bringing another pair of eyes and another layer of support, and a person, like I said, who's really going to stretch you, that's really what I believe you're looking for, is someone that's not going to pacify you, but is going to help you see beyond what you're seeing. Where you feel stuck would be valuable to bring a coach in. So where you feel stuck, where you need more clarity, where you're looking maybe for a transition, where you need a layer of support and stretch is where I feel like you would find value in having a coach.
So how can we find you? If somebody out there wants to work with a coach,
yes,
parenting, executive, child life, health, but if somebody wants to contact Breakthrough Coaching Center and find you, how do we find you?
So the name of the company is Breakthrough Coaching Center. So our website is breakthroughcoachingcenter.com, and my email is pam@breakthroughcoachingcenter.com.
Amazing. I love our story. I love your story. I love all of this.
So do I.
It's so neat to know somebody who's so interested in the Food Allergy Institute and the Tolerance Induction Program, who has ridden alongside people like me, the parents, and really gets it from that bird eye view. So thank you for supporting the program, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, the listener, for joining us today. We would love to hear from you. We have an email, resilienceandhopepodcast@gmail.com. Write to us. Tell us what you think. If you have any questions, an idea for a future episode, we would love to hear from you. And while you're at it, give us 5 stars on Apple, Spotify. Giving us 5 stars, a great review, helps future listeners find us. Other moms, dads, grandparents out there who want to learn about the Food Allergy Institute, the Tolerance Induction Program, or just some support on this food allergy journey. We also have social media at Resilience and Hope Podcast. Thank you again for joining me. And until next time, I'm Lesley-Anne Stone. Resilience and Hope Podcast, made possible thanks to the support of Food Allergy Institute.